Hello there and a warm welcome back to Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli as we get ready to celebrate the end of the first half of the season for 2024 in the FIM Yamaha R3 bLU cRU World Cup. We've just come to the end of a truly glorious afternoon of racing for World SBK. What can the youngsters now produce as they follow in the footsteps of Toprak Razgatlioglu, a Yamaha great of World Superbikes in the past? We've had fantastic weather conditions all across the race weekend, which actually started with a small earthquake here in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy, the Adriatic coast, on Wednesday night. Just coming up to 4:15 in the afternoon here. The air temperature is 27 degrees Celsius. The track temperature is 44 degrees Celsius with humidity levels of 36%. So it's good afternoon from Misano. Greg Haynes with you, and I can't wait for this one because we've already had one electrifying race yesterday in a battle for second place. The question is, can anybody beat Sanchez on this occasion? De Percio at home is on pole position, and watch out for the wildcard Christian Pucci, who was right up there yesterday fighting away and actually scored a podium. Ibidi is quick as well, the rider from just down the road at Rimini. David Novak, though, struggling, a little bit battered and bruised, I think, coming into the race weekend. And it's Denise Dalzotto, one of 3 female riders in the field this weekend, who completes the grid. We actually have no fewer than 8 wildcard riders, really bolstering the number on the grid this weekend. And coming into the event, we were wondering whether Gonzalo Sanchez could be hassled by any of those wildcards, some of whom know this Misano circuit like the back of their hand. The question was, could they beat him? The answer was, no, they couldn't, because Sanchez won again for the 4th time from 5 starts so far this season by 2.8 seconds. Sanchez having come up into the class with an automatic promotion by virtue of having won last year's super finale at Portimao in Portugal. 13 different nationalities on the grid this season in terms of the full-time riders. 6 of the 20 are Spanish. But Sanchez, who won the National Spanish Supersport 300 Championship of last year, really has been the standout performer. Away we go then on the warm-up lap, and this is one last opportunity to get the brakes and tyres up to temperature before we go racing for the second and final time this weekend. 10 laps in total. The 2/3 cut-off is the end of lap 6. Through the park chicane and into the right-handers now at Rio Corner. Turn 4 and then turn 5, and then the critical left-hander, which they're coming up to now. The leaders are into it now, is turn 6. This is it, and it leads you into the back straight. The kink at turn 7, and then the heavy braking zone of Lequercia at turn 8. This will be race 6 of 12 for 2024. The halfway point, we've had Barcelona and Assen, and then after this in a month, Donington Park. Later in the year, Magny-Cours in France and Aragon in Spain. There's a reminder of the weather conditions. A bit more cloud cover now, to the delight of the Italian crowd. Many of the foreign members of the crowd, Brits in particular, have been getting sunburnt, I can tell you, here at Misano, because we've had a stiff breeze all across the weekend. But in terms of spectators, the numbers have been absolutely superb. Just shy of 80,000 have flocked their way to this beautiful setting, as you can see for yourself. We're just across the Adriatic Sea with Croatia on the other side. A real fervent activity in all of the seaside towns. Misano, Adriatico, Riccione, Cattolica, because of the Euro football tournament kicking off. And here's the championship situation then for the R3 World Cup, supported by the Yamaha bLU cRU. Gonzalez Sanchez Melendez, to give him his full name, leading. He's from Aragon in Spain. Mark Vick from Palma in Mallorca. The only rider other than Sanchez who can actually leave Misano as the championship leader. In order to do that, Mark, number 96, who starts 6th on the grid here today, would need to finish 2nd or win the race, with Sanchez not scoring or scoring very few points. So the chances are Sanchez will head to the next round at Donington as the championship leader, but you just never know. He did hit trouble at Assen earlier on in the season. All of the riders, according to the rules, have to be aged between 14 and 20. And the winner of the championship will receive a free pass into the championship next year for the World Championship in terms of a fully supported ride. Not quite exactly the same as the free pass they get for winning the Super Finale and coming into this, but even so, a fully supported ride for the winner, a 50% discounted entry for 2nd place, and 25% for the 3rd place championship finisher. But never mind about that right now, because we're about to go racing for the 2nd time this weekend. Can Alessandro De Persia lead? Somebody's down at the back already. What on earth happened there? Somebody has crashed on the grid, and we haven't even yet got to the first corner. I think the rider dropped the bike all by themselves. But De Persia, from that pole position, trying to lead the pack through the park chicane, and there is the answer. It's Miguel Rodriguez, who just seemed to drop the bike there. I don't know what on earth was going on, but he's managing to rejoin now and get going again. No, it was Alberto Creeper. Alberto Creeper with the problem. There's the confirmation. So Creeper rejoining, but all the way down at the back of the field. One of the wildcard riders carrying that number 5 this weekend. I've never seen anything quite like that before. De Persia still leads. The 56 of Shoya Yamane is in 2nd place, with Sanchez down into 3rd position. Remember, he was up there on the front row of the grid, and they're absolutely side by side with Mark Vick coming through. Mark Vick really could do with winning the race here this afternoon, but what a strange incident there for Crippa, the Italian, off the line with the Motor.me racing team, having made his debut in the class this weekend. Sanchez comes through on the left. Yamane is up into 2nd position. Takahashi running really wide on the outside of Tramonto corner and dropping down the order. Was also given a penalty yesterday for exceeding track limits on the last lap. We've already got signalling going on from the different riders in the field. That was De Persia signalling to those behind, follow me, but De Persia now is up into that 2nd place. Sanchez is in front. Well, guys and girls, you know that you've got to demote Sanchez, and they're doing so, because if they don't, he'll disappear off up the road, as he's done so many times this season already, including in Barcelona, when he had the most dominant win and then the 2nd most dominant win, but 2 have gone down there at the top of the screen. These track temperatures of 44 degrees Celsius are really catching people out this weekend here at Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli, and Takahashi's done it again as he runs wide. But out of the race, Borgelt really doesn't have the luck this season. Borgelt, Mitcher, the 15-year-old from Germany. Benetti is down as well. That's Thomas Benetti, one of the other Italian wildcards, and that was at the top of the screen. Here they are, number 57 and number 98. You can see the flags there where the headlamps would be on the front of the bikes. Oh dear. Well, the 2nd of the riders had absolutely nowhere to go there. That's actually similar to what happened in some ways to Jonathan Ray and Chaz Davis in the World Superbike race here in 2017, but it's so easily done. Coming out of that hairpin, somebody's running wide on the run to the back straight. Gonzalo Sanchez leads. Number 33 is Christian Pucci. And I know there's a translator ready for Pucci for his Parc Ferme interview, just in case he were to win the race here this afternoon. But Sanchez, look, pulling away already. And this is the last thing everybody else wanted. But to be fair, most of them did fear this, that the 15-year-old from Telwell in Aragon would start to pull away. Mario Salles, good start for the Brazilian. Up into 2nd position, number 42. Pucci is number 33, but he's lost a place now because he's behind his Italian compatriot here, Alessandro De Persia. De Persia moves left, so Pucci moves left. De Persia, he's still holding this 3rd place. There's Sanchez, your leader, number 23. 61, Gianmaria Ibidi, right in the mix there. Out of the race, Creeper, who had the incident at the start, and also Borgelt and Benetti with their collision here on this corner. Last time round, they come through the left-hander of turn 15, down to the final corner, Misano corner, turn 16. 25 points are on offer for a race win. 20 for 2nd, 16 for 3rd, and De Persia is absolutely flying here, wringing the neck of his Yamaha R3 as he tries desperately to cling onto the shirt tails of Gonzalo Sanchez, and he even feints to the inside of the park chicane. And that was Ibidi nearly clipping the back of Pucci in the fight for third place. Two Italian wildcards really staking their claim here on the R3 World Cup. But look at Depercio go. Depercio, who started off racing in Pre-Moto 3 in Italy, and there goes Ibidi. He's taken Pucci. Takahashi with the red helmet trying to fly through as well from the land of the rising sun. Japan, he's up into that fourth position. He's had contact earlier in the race already, and look at the brake protector. It's been pushed up there on the left-hand side as we look at the number 16 bike there, the right-hand side for the rider, number 16, Takumi Takahashi, namesake, of course, of the really famous Takumi Takahashi from Japan. Out of Lequercia. That looked like Depercio and Takahashi both running out very wide on the exit of that oak tree corner. Down into the sunset bend now, Tremonto. And watch this. This is the slipstream effect. Mark Vick, very, very keen cyclist there, signalling to those behind to get in behind me. Let's try and tow ourselves up to those two who are already breaking away at the front. Mark, who lives on Mallorca, which has a shortage of karting circuits in comparison with mainland Spain and indeed Portugal for that matter. And so he does 3 hours a week of supermoto and also does some mini biking action as well. And he uses an indoor karting circuit for his mini moto because of the shortage of outdoor tracks in Mallorca. How much racetrack and curb do you want to use? You can see a penalty's going out, though, for number 80 for jumping the start. So that is a double long lap penalty for Joy Bruno. What a shame for Joy, because as a wild card rider, she's done an absolutely brilliant job so far this weekend, coming into the championship and scoring points yesterday on her debut. She had strong qualifying, and Joy was 14th in yesterday's race for 2 points, but she's now going to have to take 2 long lap penalties, and the penalty lane is on the outside of Tremonto corner. Takahashi's just run wide yet again in the background. And they're not letting Sanchez get away. This is smart stuff here. Mark Vick, 96. Flip that around for the 69 of Depercio, and he's passing him, or is he, down into Lequercia? Yes, he is. Later on the brakes, and Mark Vick on this, the 4th of 10 laps, he's up into second position. This is exactly what he wanted. And watch out for his hand signals again as Eduardo Burr, the Brazilian, dives up the inside of Depercio. Burr didn't score yesterday because he jumped the start, was given a double long lap penalty, failed to see the notifications, and was therefore given a ride-through penalty. And that equated to a post-race time penalty of 43 seconds, which dropped Burr a long way down the order. But look, Vick's gone through, and he's taken Sanchez, and the race has come alive on the 4th of the 10 laps. They haven't let him get away this time. We talked about this yesterday, the fact that if they can actually stay with him, they might be able to attack him. Because yesterday, when in the pack, they were actually putting in lap times quick enough to match the leader. And look what's happened as we come through towards the end of the first half of the race. Sanchez, who briefly looked to be escaping, has dropped all the way down into 4th position. We have a motorcycle race on our hands here now. And this is absolutely critical for the championship this year. Mark Vick, quite simply, cannot afford to keep finishing behind Gonzalo Sanchez. But Gonzalo is as cool as a cucumber. He knows that he can watch the 3 ahead of him. Where am I stronger? Where am I weaker? Where can I attack? Burr has a look at Vick, having just set the fastest lap of the race so far. There it is, that 1:54.4. Vick almost matched that. They were just hundredths of a second apart. And Vick looking behind him, and then it's like a sort of, oh yeah, they are right with me. 96 is Vick with the all-white crash helmet. Burr, 88, the yellow helmet. The Brazilian goes through. Depercio side by side. Sanchez front wheel is overlapping Depercio's rear as they come out of Lequercia. And again, Mark, calm down, Mark Vick. Looking behind him again. They're all there, Mark. They're not going to evaporate. Here comes Depercio, and he's up into second place. Sanchez so tight to the inside, just hugging the inside curb there as he tries to dispatch of these riders. Here is The long lap penalty, though, 480. Joy Bruno, she needs to take 2 of these for jumping the start. Well done, Joy. Perfectly executed and rejoining the race. Can you, I wonder, get back into that top 15? Well, it drops Joy down into 16th place, actually, so let's see whether she can fight back through the field. But she does need to take another penalty. It's 18th now as the timing screen updates. But you never know. There's a few retirements ahead. Joy might be able to get back into the top 15 point scoring positions. A quartet has now become a quintet. Back at the front. Joining Burr, De Percio, Vic and Sanchez is the Saturday pole position taker, Shoya Yamane, who became the 15th different rider to qualify in pole position in the 4-year history of the R3 World Cup, and the first from Japan. 5 to go. The second half of the race is underway, and Sanchez, as it stands, would finish a race off the podium for the first time this season. He's had 1 DNF at Assen, caught up in an incident, but the other 4 races he has won. This is going to have to be a major defensive exercise for the number 69 of De Percio, who turned 17 just after Catalonia. And here comes Sanchez, number 23, on the far right of your screen. He was 4th, he's 3rd, he's 2nd, he's 1st on lap 6. Sanchez, 3 for the price of 1. No supermarket would ever offer that, but Gonzalo Sanchez doesn't care about convention. He's taken the lead from 4th on the entry to La Quercia corner. Incredible stuff from the rider from Aragon, and he's pulled the pin. Look how he's pulling away already. They cannot allow him to escape. Look at the slipstream effect, though. Look at the advantage that De Percio has. Burr nearly runs into the back of the Italian, and the Italian's back in the lead. This is wonderful stuff. David Novak having a much better race here this afternoon. Number 46, lifelong Valentino Rossi fan. There's Pucci, number 33, the wild card, who was on the podium here yesterday. Ibidi's in this group as well. And what's happening back at the front? There's De Percio going underneath Yamane, but it's Mark Vick leading now. And all of a sudden, Sanchez, who had a lead to himself earlier, was pushed back into a group of 4, which then became a group of 5. And now the top 11 are separated by just 3 seconds, with 4 laps remaining in what is proving to be the best race of the season so far for the FIM Yamaha R3 bLU cRU World Cup of 2024. Burr has a look at Yamane and goes through in the second part of the park chicane. Vic goes left, goes right, attacks De Percio. Watch the front of the bikes dip as they slam the brakes on down into Rio corner. Sanchez with the black helmet has fallen to the back of the pack, and this is going to close up the championship if it stays like this. It could be as few as 10 points between Sanchez and Vic heading to Donington Park in a month from now, but you know it won't stay like this. It's always such a silly thing to suggest at this point of the race, and look how the rest are closing in. Eduardo Burr goes through. He takes the lead now at La Quercia corner. The question's going to be here, of course, do you want to be ahead when you come out of that last corner on the last lap? Because so often we see the lead change with the slipstreaming fight on the run to the line. Sanchez is back up into second position again. Make that first as he ducks underneath Burr coming out of Tremonto. Eduardo Burr, the most experienced rider in the history of the R3 World Cup. This is his 38th race start here this afternoon. Yamane has a look. De Percio's back in front. Mark Vick trying to go all the way around the outside. Pucci's on the inside, number 33. Wonderful move, he's 3rd. He's having a go for 2nd now. Christian Pucci on the podium yesterday as a wildcard debutant, and that 2nd group is attacking the 1st group. And Sanchez has fallen all the way down towards the back of the group. Would you believe it? Here he is. Gonzalo Sanchez is now in 7th place. And finally, for the first time this season, they have worked together to slipstream their way back up towards Sanchez at the front of the field. And they're making the Aragon riders' life far more difficult than it's been at any other point yet this year. This is 3 laps to go now, the 8th of the 10. And any one of 11 riders could win here at Misano. De Persio, Vic, Pucci, Burr, David Novak. He's up into the top 5 for Poland. Brilliant recovery. Ibidi is 6th. Sanchez, as I say, is 7th. Yamani is 8th. Mario Salas down tonight. Cameron Swain of Australia. He's in 10th position, number 26. And Tong Damoon of Thailand, number 54, at the back of this leading group. So watch out for Warapot as well as the 18-year-old tries to make his way through. OK, Mark Vick just getting himself comfortable. Mark Vick, the only winner other than Sanchez so far this year. Burr goes through on the inside. Easy to spot Burr with the bright yellow crash helmet. Out of LaQuercia. Now they're coming up to the right-hander. This is Tremonto corner. Eduardo Burr yet to win in the R3 World Cup. Can he claim a memorable first race win here this afternoon? The steward's busy, incidentally, investigating the incident we saw with Borgelt earlier in the race at the hairpin. No doubt we'll find out later. But who is going to win this? Because it could be any one of 11 riders. This is sensational stuff. We'd have some absolutely incredible finishes in this class before, but none closer than Barcelona in 2021, when Iker Garcia beat Julian Giral by just 4 thousandths of a second, and we might get a similarly close finish here this afternoon as we move into the 9th and penultimate lap of Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli. Sanchez, the championship leader, was on the inside line there. This is the lowest he's been all season by far. And Sanchez is in real risk of falling down to the back of the pack in 11th place. This is proving how fantastic the R3 World Cup is. Novak having a look. Novak on the inside, drops down to 5th because that's a really aggressive move from Gian-Maria Ibidi, who comes through on the number 61 bike. But Christian Pucci now, the wild card, is fighting away for the lead of this race. He was leading over the line, and he now falls back into 4th position. Mark Vick is back in front. Eduardo Burr is 2nd. Ibidi up there in 3rd place, number 61. Mark Vick, the 17-year-old. Number 96, because he was born on the 9th day of the month in 2006. He's always had a clear helmet all through his racing career. It's either been bright yellow or white, and it is white at the moment. But look who's cutting back through the pack, and we are now halfway around the penultimate lap. Gonzalo Sanchez, having nearly fallen to the very back of the pack, is back up into 5th position. But somebody's gone up the inside of him. Look on the right-hand side of the screen. This is going to be difficult now for Sanchez to win this race, but it could happen. He's 6th at the moment, just behind David Novak. And this is the brilliance of the championship as well, the fact you've got the wildcard one-event riders mixing it with the regulars for the lead. Ibidi, number 61, is right up there on the outside line. Pucci's leading. Pucci's back in front. Mark Vick 2nd. 61 is Ibidi. Where Sanchez with the all-black crash helmet. He's on the inside line. He doesn't want to be on the outside in case somebody loses the front and wipes him clean out of the race. He's learned from incidents across his young racing career so far. Hold on to your seats then, because this is the 10th and final lap of a truly electrifying race here as we hit the halfway point of the R3 World Cup for 2024. And it's the wild card, Christian Pucci, number 33, leading. Is he going to win? There's Gonzalo Sanchez, and there's almost contact there with the 56 of Yamani. Look at them moving around like lottery balls in a machine. It's impossible to know where to go. Sanchez is on the inside line. How many positions is he going to gain? Approximately 2, and he's up to 6th place. If he's going to win this race, he's got to pick them off almost one by the corner now for the remainder of this lap here at Misano. Down the back straight, we're heading towards LaQuercia. Pucci, number 33, with the advantage. Eduardo Burr, the Brazilian. Watch out for Sanchez, number 23, the championship leader. De Persio is back in front. De Persio, who started on pole position in front of his beloved Italian fans here this afternoon. We still have 11 riders locked together here at the front of the race. Is anyone going to be brave? Yamani is. Oh, are they going to get through? Yamani released the brake. He came from so far back. That That's absolutely unbelievable stuff. He was 7th going into the corner, and he comes out in the lead. Shoyi and Amani, number 56. Have you ever seen anything like it? Look at him on the inside line. Sanchez is in there. Sanchez is up into 2nd place. He's going up the inside of the leader now. It's a perfectly timed last lap so far. It's impossible to call. Pucci, 33, is 2nd. Look at Sanchez on the inside line. Is he close enough to attack? No, he's not. He's down in 4th place. De Percio is still leading this race. Alessandro De Percio from pole position in front of his home crowd here. Is he about to win for the first time? And if he does, what a place to do it. Oh, Pucci! Pucci goes through! The wild card's leading! Side by side, it's going to be Christian Pucci over the line, surely! Yes, it is! Well done, Christian! Pucci comes through to win as a one-event wild card rider with an absolutely remarkable move at the last corner. What a special afternoon it is for him to come through here, having finished on the podium yesterday. And he wins by far the best race of the season so far. And the top 2 there were covered by just 57 thousandths of a second. And that goes down in history as the 12th closest finish from 42 races so far in the 3.5-year history of the R3 World Cup. What a remarkable last corner. An Italian 1-2. Pucci from De Percio. Sanchez critically got ahead of his main rivals, and not just ahead, but 6 positions ahead. Mark Vick will be gutted to have fallen all the way down the order, having led for a lot of that race, to 9th place at the checkered flag, and that means Sanchez increases his championship lead, would you believe it, after all that, to 28 points. De Percio comes through, though, for AG Motorsports. Wonderful podium there for Alessandro De Percio, and that's the first of his career in the championship. There he is, number 69, started on pole position. That was a really nice, tidy race, actually, wasn't it, coming from pole? We had that drama off the line. I don't know what happened at the back, because Cripper seemed to just drop the bike as the lights go out. Really unfortunate stuff for another one of those wild card riders. Luckily, he was absolutely okay, but Alberto Cripper had that problem further back. And how far up the order did Joy Bruno progress after those 2 long lap penalties? Not quite enough for points. 18th on this occasion. Shout out, though, for the number 24, and that's Jayant Choti from the Netherlands. So Chote, I think I should pronounce it as, actually, in 15th position there. So well done. 1 point for 15th place as another one of the one-event riders. But what about Christian? An absolutely remarkable end to the race there. And I talked about the lottery balls in the machine, and they came out in a rather, I don't know whether it was a jackpot result for anyone or not, because it was impossible there to predict, but definitely the bonus ball was Pucci, number 33, who came through. What an unbelievable move at that last corner. He came from a long way back. I thought they were going to touch. They all got through cleanly, I have to say. Well done, everybody. Well done, everybody there, for giving each other the space. We had very, very little contact. Contact is inevitable in a class like this. Absolutely sublime. Well, that's definitely one of the best races we've seen in the whole of motorcycle racing this year, and I'm including MotoGP and World Superbike in that. Christian Pucci, what I said, didn't I? And I thought I might be tempting fate and jinxing something, that he's got a translator ready for him in case he wins the race. And it's good they did, because he is now going to be speaking in a few minutes with George Wells as a winner here, as a one-event rider. And what a way to come into the championship. And it just makes you wonder, surely we'll see the likes of Pucci racing full-time next year or the year after, as soon as he's up to the minimum age, of course, in the Supersport 300 World Championship. But that move we saw there at the last corner was out of this world. He was born, would you believe, this will make you all feel old, in 2007. '16-year-old Christian Pucci celebrates victory as a wildcard one-event rider here at Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli.
Adesso ti faccio una fotografia in mondovisione e te la mando.
Depercio on the left, Sanchez on the far right. There's the final results at the bottom of the screen. By the way, anyone who's coming to Donington Park in a month from now, the charity concert will be taking place on the paddock show stage. And I am told, I'm reliably informed, that Mario Salas, who, on good authority, I'm told is an incredibly talented singer, will be performing on the paddock show stage. Gonzalo Sanchez as well. He's a real showman, is this man, Gonzalo. Always gets up on the barriers to celebrate in front of the crowd whenever he wins. And it's been a brilliant start to the season for him, hasn't it? Because he's had, okay, 1 retirement from 6 races, but 4 wins. And he's also had that third place, of course, here this afternoon at Misano. But we'll be hearing in a minute and seeing for the first time Christian Pucci giving an interview. Here he is. Can he believe it? Taking in the moment. Depercio. That moves him up to 5th in the championship now, 51 points behind Sanchez. Sanchez leads Vic by 28. Novak is 3rd, 45 behind. bLU is 4th, 46 behind. Depercio 5th, 51 in arrears of Gonzalo Sanchez. So here we go.
You're a wild card here in Misano, but you have achieved the dream of winning a World Cup race. Tell me about it.
Ecco, questo fine settimana è andato un po' così, abbiamo avuto tanti problemi con la moto. Per fortuna il mio manager ha risolto tutti i problemi in modo tale di potermi far stare nelle prime posizioni. E ecco, non mi sarei mai aspettato questa vittoria perché all'inizio ho visto che il gruppetto di primi era andato via e ho fatto forza e coraggio, mi sono andati a ripiare e l'ho sorpassati. È stata una bella bagarre con Alex all'ultima curva e niente, non c'ho niente da dire, ringrazio papà e mamma, Federico, e gli sponsor e basta.
Bravo, congratulations.
Grazie.
Yeah, was a great race and was difficult at the beginning because we were all fighting for the first position, and then last lap was crazy because I passed my colleague at the end at the last corner. It was a fantastic race. I want to say thanks to my manager Federico and my family and my sponsor.
Thank you very much, Georgia Wells, Christian Pucci himself, and also his manager there, Federico Mandatori, providing us with that translation. Thank you, everybody. Look at that. Depercio did an absolutely phenomenal job to see him coming. And Pucci still gets it stopped right up against the edge of the red and white curbs. That's one of the finest overtakes you'll see in bike racing all season as he crosses the line, 57 thousandths ahead of second place. And the top 10 riders are covered by less than 9/10 of a second. Pucci, Depercio, Sanchez, Ibidi, bLU, Yamani, Novak, Salas, Vic, Swain, as quickly as that over the line, and just over 8/10 of a second between the lot of them. José Simona there from Dorna, the championship organisers, just guiding the riders up towards the podium. A championship that's seen Iker Garcia, Enzo Valentim and Emiliano Ercolani winning over the first 3 seasons of 2021 through 23. And the bLU cRU for Yamaha set up several years ago now, and it's taking in all sorts of countries and nations and areas around the globe. Spain, France, the Benelux region, Italy, Thailand and South America all have their own R3 bLU cRU World Cups and their own individual challenges. The super finale takes all of the best riders from each of those individual national series and places them together. That'll happen at Jerez later this year. And the winner of that will receive a free pass into next year's 2025 R3 World Cup here in the World SBK paddock, as well as one other rider who's selected by the Yamaha Racing Committee. Nice to see the DePercio banner there at the bottom of your screen. Don't forget, you can review all of the races we've had so far this year live here on the Yamaha Racing YouTube channel. If you go onto Yamaha Racing on YouTube, you can select either videos or live, and you will find all 6 of the races, both of the events here at Misano, as well as the season openers at Barcelona and then Assen. And we still have as many races to go as we've already had this year, because we've got Donington Park in the UK, Magny-Cours in France, and Aragon in Spain still to go. Yes, Christian. What an absolutely magnificent result there for Pucci. And he'll turn 17 on the 15th of August. So 2 national anthems. First of all, here in Italy, the Italian anthem for Christian Pucci. The joyful chords of Il Canto degli Italiani there. Now the Japanese national anthem for Yamaha, the winning manufacturer here in the bLU cRU.
To our top 3. If we could get Gonzalo, please, and Alessandro.
And on your left-hand side is Nancy van der Ven, who was the Women's MX World Champion of 2022. As I said earlier on in the broadcast, the bLU cRU initiative extends very much into the world of motocross, the MXGP world, as well as here in road racing, chiefly in the World SBK paddock. What a race that was. Christian Pucci, stunning win as a one-event rider, just ahead of DePercio. And look at the gaps between the top 9. Sanchez, 3rd, and Mark Vick. I really do feel for Mark, dropping all the way down to 9th after such a good run. Tote from the Netherlands. Well done, sir. A 1-point scoring result there for you in 15th place. Benetti and Borgout collided. Cripper was down in a very unusual incident off the start line. Halfway through the season, with 3 rounds and 6 races still to go, Sanchez leads Mark Vick. Novak, after a damage limitation exercise this weekend, a point ahead of Burr, with DePercio completing the championship top 5, and into the top 10 goes today's winner, Christian Pucci. He also finished on the podium here in Italy on Saturday. So we'll be back for Donington in a month from now as the second half of the season begins. But for now, from Ian Wheeler, from Georgia Wells and myself, Greg Haynes, all of us here at Yamaha Racing, I wish you a good start to your summer, and you really can't miss the second half of the season for the FIM Yamaha R3 bLU cRU World Cup. Sanchez is the championship leader, but Christian Pucci is the man at Misano.
Alessandro DePercio, Pilota d'Italia. What a great race for Alessandro DePercio. Very, very close race as Gonzalo said. 11 riders. Big, big battle. Some words, please, in italiano. Italiano and then small in inglese.
Sì, è stato davvero difficile. Dall'inizio ho cercato di stare nelle prime posizioni per non perdere terreno dai primi. È stato difficile non far fare Gonzalo come ieri, ma ci sono stato. sono davvero contento di questo podio, primo podio del campionato, e ringrazio tutto quanto il team Badaggi Motorsport e Ama Italia che mi ha dato una mano fin dall'inizio. Davvero grazie mille a tutti quanti gli sponsor e grazie mille a tutte le persone che sono venute a vedermi. For me, it's incredible to stay here today. Thank you to all my team, all my sponsors. See you in Donington.